Everglades National Park. It's a vast, wild expanse of subtropical wetlands, a place of stunning beauty and profound mystery. But since 2023, a new kind of darkness has settled over the soil. A rule, stark and simple, is now posted at every ranger station, written in bold red letters. If you hear your own voice calling from the sawgrass after sunset, do not answer. This isn't folklore. It is a desperate warning born from a series of events that defy all logic and bend the very fabric of reality. To understand why this rule exists, we have to go back to the night it all began. The night the swamp learned to imitate, to duplicate, and to replace. Our story starts on July 17th, 2023, at 2:14 in the morning. Ranger Daniela Vega was on a routine airboat night patrol, a task she'd performed hundreds of times. But this Jimmy, she vanished without a trace. The search and rescue operation was immediate and extensive. For 3 agonizing days, teams scoured the labyrinthine waterways, their searchlights cutting through the oppressive darkness. But they found nothing. No boat, no equipment, and no sign of Daniela. It was as if the swamp had simply swallowed her whole. Then, 72 hours after her disappearance, a breakthrough, her bodycam was recovered, snagged on a cypress root just beneath the water's surface. The discovery brought a wave of relief, a hope for answers. But what they found on that camera only plunged them deeper into an abyss of confusion and fear. The device was completely dead. The battery read 0%. Yet, inexplicably, it was still recording. The timestamp, a ghostly digital counter, continued to roll forward, marking the passage of time on a device that had no power to do so. How could a dead camera still be recording? This was the first of many impossible questions. The footage it held was the last known record of Daniela Vega, a chilling chronicle of her final moments, and the first piece of a puzzle that would haunt the Everglades for years to come. For over 2 years, the recovered footage and audio were analyzed by experts. The files were corrupted, filled with static and strange, distorted sounds that seemed to echo the very soul of the swamp. It wasn't until November 27, 2025, that the new audio recovery technology managed to clean up a crucial segment. What it revealed sent a shockwave through the investigation. 47 minutes into the recording, Daniela Vega's voice, clear as day, comes through the radio. She sounds panicked, disoriented. "Control, I see my airboat, but I'm still on it." Think about that for a second. She's on her airboat, looking at her own identical airboat in the distance. A chilling impossibility. But the real horror came in the response. From the swamp itself, a voice answers her. It's her own voice, a perfect mimic, yet it's laced with a calm, predatory confidence that's deeply unsettling. It says, "Daniela, come closer. We kept your uniform dry." It was a direct response. A lure? The swamp wasn't just echoing. It was communicating intelligently, using her own voice as a weapon. The entity in the water knew who she was, knew what she was wearing, and it was inviting her to join it. The implications were staggering. Something in the Everglades was creating duplicates, not just of objects, but of Peoples, and it was waiting. This audio revelation prompted a frantic re-examination of the Bodycam footage. An internal report, immediately stamped classified, detailed the visual evidence, and it was even more disturbing than the audio. At precisely 17 a.m., the timestamp on the Bodycam shows Daniela Vega getting off her airboat and walking steadily, almost hypnotically into the murky, black water of the swamp. Her light beam cuts a path into the darkness, and she follows it without hesitation. But here is the impossible part, the detail that broke the minds of the analysts who saw it. The body cam is on her chest, facing forward. We are seeing her point of view as she walks into the water, but simultaneously, the footage also shows her from the front. The camera is somehow filming her own face as she walks toward it into the swamp at the exact same second. It's a paradox. Two points of view from the same camera at the same moment in time. One looking out from her eyes, the other looking back at her. The camera was in two places at once, just like Daniela. The report concluded that the laws of physics, as we know them, did not apply in that part of the swamp that night. The mystery of the impossible body cam only deepened. On December 1st, 2025, a maintenance team was servicing a remote sensor station deep within the park. As they were securing their equipment, one of them noticed something half buried in the mud nearby. It was a bot. Upon closer inspection, they realized with a jolt of disbelief that it was Daniela Vega. Bodycam, the same one that had been recovered and logged into evidence over 2 years prior. But it was here again, back in the swamp, and it was still recording. The team, completely bewildered, gathered around the device. They powered it on, and the screen flickered to life. What they saw on that tiny screen was the final terrifying twist. The body cam wasn't showing the 2023 footage of Daniela. It was showing them right now, in 2025. It was broadcasting a live feed of the maintenance team, huddled together, staring at the screen of the body cam they were holding. They were watching themselves, watching the footage. On the footage itself, a closed, infinite loop of observation, captured by a ghost camera that shouldn't exist. They were no longer just investigators of the phenomenon. They were now part of it. The discovery of the self-observing camera sent the park's administration into a full-blown crisis. This wasn't just a haunting anymore. It was an active, evolving threat. The entity in the swamp was learning, its abilities growing more complex. The duplicates were no longer just a distant echo. They were a present danger. A new rule was immediately enacted, effective December 2nd, 2025. It was a desperate, almost superstitious measure, but it was all they could think of. Every ranger without exception was required to wear a bright green 2025 dated armband on their left arm at all times while on duty. The rule came with a terrifying addendum. Rangers were instructed to frequently check the reflection in mirrors, in the dark surface of the water, in the polished metal of their equipment. If you look at your reflection and the green armband is missing, you have exactly 11 minutes. 11 minutes before the swamp starts breathing for you. The implication was clear. If your reflection doesn't match reality, you're not you anymore. Or, rather, the real you is about to be replaced, and the clock is ticking. It didn't take long for the new rule to be tested. Just 3 days later, on December 5th, 2 rangers were on their airboat at dusk, filming a routine patrol update on a GoPro. The 42-second clip is now a legendary piece of evidence within the Park Service. The ranger speaking to the camera suddenly pauses, a look of confusion on his face. He says, "Wait, there's 3 of us on the boat now." His partner, who is piloting the boat, doesn't seem to notice. The first ranger then slowly pans the camera, and there, sitting silently between them, is a third figure. It's an exact duplicate of the ranger who is speaking. Identical face, identical uniform, but with one critical difference. There's no green armband on its arm. As the camera focuses on the doppelganger, its mouth begins to move, and with a 2-second delay, the exact same words the first ranger just spoke come out. Wait, there's 3 of us on the boat now. It wasn't an echo. It was a pre-echo. The copy was speaking his words before he did. The clip cuts out abruptly. The fate of those rangers remains unknown. The very next day, the situation escalated into total chaos. The final official transmission from the park before a complete media blackout was logged on December 6, 2025 at 7:11 p.m. It was a frantic call from the control center to the regional director. The dispatcher's voice was trembling. "Control, we have 4 rangers. On Channel 7, only 2 went out tonight. 2 rangers were on patrol, but 4 distinct voices, all identifying as active duty rangers, were communicating on the secure channel." The dispatcher continued, her voice dropping to a terrified whisper. "The other 2, they're wearing 2023 boots, and they know our route." The duplicates weren't just random apparitions anymore. They were organized. They had knowledge of past equipment, and more horrifyingly, they knew the patrol routes. They knew where the real rangers were going. They were hunting them. They were integrating. The swamp was no longer just creating copies. It was fielding a team. So, if you ever find yourself in the vast, beautiful wilderness of the Everglades after the sun goes down, and you hear a familiar voice calling your name from the rustling sawgrass, a voice that sounds exactly like your own, remember the rules. Don't answer. Check your reflection. Check your armband. And if it's gone, it's already too late. The swamp already hired your replacement. And the story doesn't end here. We're heading to Rocky Mountain National Park in 48 hours. They just found the Echo Patrol. Spectral Rangers still walking their beats, but without but. Subscribe and turn on all notifications before your own voice answers from this